Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the pros and cons of Ubisoft's long-awaited pirate game, Skull and Bones.
Now there won't be any tales told of this feat. But you brought me a good and honest haul, Cully.
Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Worst character creator. This was true in the closed and open betas, and we thought that Ubisoft might be working on implementing a more complex character creator at launch, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Whether it's on Ubisoft's radar for a future update is yet to be seen, but it's severely lacking when you play Skull and Bones now. There are very few customization options beyond skin tone, body type, hair color, and style, with no sliders to fine-tune things. It's true that character creators are a rare appearance in Ubisoft games generally, but in an RPG that's all about freedom, it would be nice if things were a little deeper.
Take my hand! You're not dying today!
Best performance.
You are free to make your own luck now, Captain.
Captain, is it? As long as you don't stare us into the blasted rocks.
On PS5, Series X, and PC, Skull and Bones has been performing just as well as a new-gen game should. It's got quality and performance modes, and in performance, it runs at a very stable 60 FPS, at least in the early access and the betas. The crossplay also functions well and just requires you to add friends via Ubisoft Connect. It also hasn't got too many bugs, though there has been a notorious glitch circulating where you get marked for death by the helm, only for that to immediately expire and flood your screen with a dozen notifications for the same thing. It's set to be one of Ubisoft's most stable releases, although that makes sense considering it's been in development for so long, and changes so little from Assassin's Creed 4.
Why bleed for others when you can suck them dry?
Worst PvP.
And where there is blood, there are predators.
This one might be contentious, because there's every chance you're one of the players who's excited for the opt-in PvP in Skull and Bones. For a while, there were rumors that there would be separate servers for PvP and PvE, but that now doesn't appear to be the case. The game is heavily weighted towards PvE, though there are a few modes that allow PvP. This is in stark contrast to Sea of Thieves, which does have a PvE-only mode, but that's not the standard. The risk of being hunted down by your fellow pirates is what makes Sea of Thieves so fun, and that's essentially gone in Skull and Bones, where you can simply say, "No thank you," and never have to engage with other players at all.
We covered this game! Frank! We're gonna die! Go on, Cowboys Long! You failed us!
Best ship customization.
Heard you swap that leaky tub of yours. Talk of your deeds grows louder.
Skull and Bones' predecessors, Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Rogue, didn't have too many customization options for the Jackdaw and the Morrigan respectively. There are some cosmetics, and even more for the Adrestia in Odyssey, but the ship customization in Skull and Bones is on another level. You can have pets, furniture, various pieces of decor, figureheads, decorations, flags, color schemes, and sail patterns, giving you the ability to really make the ship your own. Of course, all the best customization options are purchasable only with virtual currency. This time, it's gold, and you can use it to buy cosmetics for your ship and your character. The only silver lining is that there are no pay-to-win mechanics to be found. Worst empty map. Yes, we know, in real life most of the sea is empty, and those empty stretches of open ocean with no land in sight are a key part of feeling like it's you against the world. But Skull and Bones takes that to a new extreme, with vast sections of stormy sea that currently have nothing to do in them. On the other hand, Black Flag managed to have that sense of distance and scale without leaving you in the middle of the Caribbean with nothing to do. There were always islands and places to explore, not to mention plenty of ships to battle, which is also true for Sea of Thieves. On top of that, fast travel is tedious, It costs money, and the fast travel outposts and cities aren't exactly easy to find. Best, sailing.
Ah, smell that salt, spice, and sin, Captain. The Indian Ocean holds many secrets and mysteries.
Because Skull and Bones is drawing from one of the best naval combat and traversal systems in any video game, the sailing is as fun as you would expect, though not so fun that it counteracts the boredom of the empty ocean. You raise your sails to different levels to change your speed, and you need to contend with the wind speed and wind direction so that you don't drift away and crash into some rocks. Some of the weather mechanics from Black Flag have also made it over, namely swelling seas and rogue waves. To avoid the rogue waves, you have to sail directly into them and brace just like in Black Flag, though there's no helpful minimap here to make them easier to deal with. And yes, we know, the stamina bar for your ship is pretty stupid. We think it's stupid as well, but overall the sailing is fun. Worst, lack of campaign.
What's a pirate's life without a little peril and mischief, eh?
There's a very light story in the main quests you get from Skurlock, but it's far from a true campaign. You'll also eventually be able to join the helm and start an industry creating and smuggling opium and pirate rum around the Indian Ocean, which is interesting, but also not a story still. Sailing around with your friends is fun enough, but when you compare Skull and Bones directly with games that do offer piracy gameplay with a full story, i.e. Black Flag, it definitely falls short. All this despite Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot saying that Skull and Bones isn't a AAA game, it's a quadruple A game. Yeah, sure, a quadruple A game with no story.
Off you go. We'll see each other soon.
Best, progression.
Oh, you'll do a decent job ferrying wares. What say you work for Tatamu? My connections in your ship will net us more coin than there are fish in the sea.
Something that might turn a lot of players off from Skull and Bones' biggest rival, which is, again, Sea of Thieves, is that game's lack of progression between sessions. Plenty of things are saved, but in other ways, every time you jump back in, you're just starting from scratch all over again. This, of course, keeps things fresh, but Skull and Bones is a game for those who want a more traditional ARPG fare and want to level up and keep everything when they leave and come back. You keep all your resources, your money, ships, cosmetics, and your level of infamy between sessions, meaning you're always role-playing and working on your character.
Should my agents provide only more piss and swash, know that opportunity will fall on you.
Worst, lack of swashbuckling. We already knew this, but the lack of third-person gameplay is a big issue in Skull and Bones. Third person is only used in the various outposts and the 2 hubs, and all you can do is walk around and talk to quest givers and access your cache and vendors. Sometimes you can find buried treasure with a map, but there's no sword fighting or third person combat. Considering every other popular pirate game or every other pirate game in general has swashbuckling, including the game Skull and Bones evolved from, this oversight is just baffling. Hopefully this is something that could one day be addressed in a large future update, because it is very easy to get tired of the seafaring, and we wish there was some more variety in the gameplay, especially for the price of $70. Best, naval combat. Ubisoft Singapore began life largely as a support studio for Assassin's Creed, and its big contribution to the franchise was the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 3, which reached its apex in Black Flag and Rogue. So it's hardly surprising that the naval combat, Skull and Bones' bread and butter, is excellent. It's faster than in Assassin's Creed, your ships are more mobile, and you have way more options for creating loadouts and builds. Equipping different cannons will change the flow of battle and the role your ship plays, and you can craft and upgrade armor and other weapons to make the combat more personal and dynamic. If you love the ship combat in Black Flag, you'll probably have just as much fun in Skull and Bones. We just hope that someday we'll be able to actually board and fight on another enemy's ship instead of just wrangle it on in, you know? That's one part of it that's really suffering there.
Are you afraid to die?
Are you checking out Skull and Bones? What do you think of the game? Let us know down in the comments in a civil manner what you think about Skull and Bones and whether it's worth the hefty price tag.
But why? Why would the Farah stoop so low as to become French puppets?
But before you do that, don't forget to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.